diamonds. And let's just share this screen. And let's minimize that. Okay. I just to make that bigger. Okay, great. So let's have a look at some hands. We're going to start with this one actually, which was a hand I sent out in this week's quiz, in this week's email. And you open one heart, there's a one spade overcall, and north takes you to four hearts, and the opponents lead the ace of diamonds. And we can see we're in have a bit of a problem on this hand, because we've got two diamonds which we're going to lose, and we're probably going to lose two spades, in the sense that West is likely, based on the bidding, to have the king and jack of spades. And although we can try and make the spades by finessing, those spades, both the spade finesses are not going to work probably, because West is likely to have the king and the jack. So unless they lead spades for me, I've probably got two spade losers in addition to the two diamonds. So how it might go is like this. You might, suppose they win two diamonds and play a third diamond, which you rough. You can try drawing trumps. So we'll play 2 rounds of trumps. We'll draw the last round with the king. And if you now play a spade towards the ace, queen, 10, it's very likely whatever you play will get beaten with the jack. And if we actually bring up the four hands at this point, we'll see that West does indeed have the king as well. And as long as they don't lead the another spade now, you're going to probably lose another trick. So if they lead a club, you can win that, try a second spade finesse, which also fails, and so you'll lose 4 tricks. And you'll make 9 tricks there. Is there anything you could do better than that? Well, let's try the hand again. And we're going to play it in a similar way, but bear in mind that West is as likely to have the king and jack of spades. What we're going to do is rough the third round of diamonds, draw trumps just as we did before with drawing 3 rounds. And then before we play the spades, what we're going to do is eliminate the club suit. We're going to, all the trumps have gone, and so we're going to play 3 rounds of clubs. Okay, and then when we lead a spade towards our hand, we can play the 10. West can win this time, but what has happened now is that West is end played, because West, if they play a spade, of course, we're going to avoid the spade loser. And if they play a club, that's the ideal situation for us, where we're avoiding both hands in clubs, and we've got at least 1 trump in each hand. And so if they lead a club, we can rough in one hand while we discard from the other. So we could perhaps discard the spade there while we rough with the 10. And now we're not going to lose any spades. We'll take the ace and rough the queen. So played that way, we can make 10 tricks there. And we gave ourselves a good chance to do it. We basically, instead of just doing an ordinary finesse, we kind of finessed, but really what we were doing, we expected to lose the spade. And by eliminating the other suits, we end played West. West then had to lead something, either a spade or a suit where we were void in, which allowed us to make 10 tricks rather than the 9 tricks we made if we just tried the ordinary finesse. Do interrupt me if you have any questions or comments on that. And we're going to look at a few more examples like this. Here's one where East opens a diamond and we overcall a spade. My partner raises to 3 spades, and let's suppose we bid 4 spades. And the opponents here lead a diamond. And let's have a look at the situation. How many losers do we have in each suit? Well, looks like we're going to lose 2 diamonds. We have 1 potential heart loser, and we may or may not lose a spade, depending on how they divide. So you might think that at some point you're going to try the heart finesse, but what we're going to do is, suppose they win 2 tricks with the top 2 diamonds, and suppose East now shifts to the queen of spades. So what we're going to do here, there are no more diamonds here, and what's going to happen on this hand is, if we think about the bidding, East opened the bidding with 1 diamond, so East is very likely to have most of the missing points here. And in fact, it makes it unlikely that the king of hearts is in the west hand. It's much more likely to be in the east hand. And if it is, that heart finesse is probably not going to succeed. But instead of trying the heart finesse, we may be able to do something better. So let's see how it goes in spades. Let's win that first trump, and we play another spade, hoping for that they divide 2-2, but they don't. So East has 1 more high spade, it's a jack, and they're always going to win a trick with it now. So what we're going to do, obviously, if we try the heart finesse and it loses, that will be it. But a much better plan, knowing that East has got that last high trump, is to throw in East with it. And for this to work, what we need to do is get rid of the other side suit, get rid of the club suit. So we'll play the clubs here. By the way, we don't care if this gets roughed, because it's being roughed with East's last high trump. So we'll just play the club. East now discards, so East has got no more clubs. So what we're going to do, instead of trying the heart finesse, we're going to throw in East with their last spade. And it actually, at this point, let's bring up the 4 hands. And you can see that East is now left with either hearts or diamonds. Now, obviously, they're not going to lead a heart, because they'd be leading into the ace queen, and we'd avoid heart loser that way. And if they lead a diamond, it gives us a chance to rough in one hand while we discard a loser from the other. Now, when that happens, that they lead a suit allows you to rough in one hand and discard from the other, sometimes you need to give a little bit of thought as to where you're going to rough, what you're going to rough, where you're going to rough it, and where you're going to discard. And in fact, that's the subject of the first poll of the evening. East, at this point, instead of leading a heart, plays the ace of diamonds. And I'd like you to think about what you're going to play, what you're going to play from the south hand and what you're going to play from the north hand. And the poll is, when they lead the ace of diamonds, what are you going to play from the south hand? Are you going to play a spade, a heart, or a club? Have a little think about it. And in a moment, I'm going to launch a poll. The question is, what should you play from the south hand? And most of you have gone for a heart, 86%, with 11% going for a spade and 1 person going for a club. Yeah, let's just think about it. That lead of the diamond gives you a chance to rough in one hand and discard from the other. But what you have to do is discard a heart here. If you discard a heart from your hand, and then you're going to rough this in dummy, and by discarding a heart, now you don't need to try the heart finesse. You've avoided the heart loser. If you make the mistake of roughing in your own hand with a spade, well, there's nothing you can discard that will save you a trick here. You could discard a heart, but you still have a potential heart loser on this hand. So yes, most of you are right. You need to discard from your own hand and avoid that heart loser while you've rough it in dummy. Once you've done that, now you can cash the ace of diamonds. You can cash the ace and cash the ace of clubs. And now you've just got 2 trump left. So played that way, you can make your 10 tricks. Whereas if you had tried the heart finesse, that was always likely to fail. Okay. Any comments or questions on that? Let's try another one. This time we'll look at it from the point of view of the defense. And Norther has opened 1 no trump. You've got a pretty nice hand there. And let's suppose you overcall 2 hearts, which is natural. But South bids 2 spades. Pass, pass. You could let them play in 2 spades, but let's suppose you bid 3 hearts and North supports their partner's spades. And you force them 1 level higher, and here they are in 3 spades. So your partner's on lead here, and your partner leads the king of hearts. And we need to sort of have a little think about this hand. And we can see we're going to make a spade trick. We're probably going to make 2 heart tricks. And then we've got these honors in the minor suits, the diamonds and the clubs. And we hope to make a trick with 1 or both of those honors. So let's see what happens. Your partner leads the king. And let's suppose you encourage with the 10 and your partner wins that trick. And now they play the 3. So what do we make of that? I think that probably indicates that your partner started with a doubleton, with the king and the 3. So we'll win this one with the ace. And if you think about it for a moment, the only missing heart that's still out there is the queen. And I think Declarer has it. Why do I say that? Because I think if your partner started with the king, queen, 3, they should have led the king followed by the queen. But when they play the king and the 3, it probably means that Declarer's got the queen. So I think I'm going to lead another heart here. And even though it can be roughed in dummy, maybe my partner's got the jack of spades or something and will be able to rough high enough. Or at least in any case, it prevents the queen from making a trick. Here my partner roughs with the 8 and Declarer over roughs. Well, we couldn't do anything about that. Okay. And now Declarer starts on trumps and he leads the 2 of spades. And this is actually a critical point for you as East, because you are in danger of being end played. What's going to happen here if you play low here and Declarer then plays another spade, which you will win, you will then be end played. And you will either have to lead a diamond into the ace, king, jack in dummy, or you'll have to lead a club, the king 10, again, horrible leading that into dummy, or you will have to lead a heart. And if you lead a heart, that is a suit that both North and South are out of, and you'll be giving Declarer a chance to rough in one hand while they discard from the other. So the critical play for you as East is to win this trick with the ace so that you have a safe exit card of a trump. So you don't have to lead back a heart, a diamond, or a club. And if you have been anticipating all that, you can now play back a spade, and now you're not end played anymore. So Declarer's now drawn all the trumps, and let's suppose he tries the diamond finesse. Let's suppose he tries a diamond to the jack, and you win the queen. And I've got the second poll question for you now, which is, what are you going to play now? You've just won the queen of diamonds. What are you going to play at the next trick, which is trick 7? Are you going to play a heart, a diamond, or are you going to play the king of clubs or the 10 of clubs? Here's the second poll of the evening. What are you going to play now? And most of you have gone for a diamond, followed by a heart, and 12% played a club. Well, I think a diamond is the obvious play here. Playing a club is dreadful, isn't it? Because you're leading away from your king 10 into the ace queen. And playing a heart is not much better because it gives declarer a chance to ruff in one hand while they discard from the other. In fact, if I click on the GIB button here, it's saying that the only way to defeat this contract is to lead a diamond. Because if you lead a heart, declarer can discard. Here they will probably discard a club from the south hand while they ruff in the north hand, and then they won't lose any more club tricks. But you'd make a very safe return. Doesn't help declarer of playing a diamond back. And now declarer will probably have to fall back on the club finesse. So they may lead a club, and you'll defeat the contract by taking your king of clubs. So after this, by the way, obviously you have to play something. And now it's okay to lead a heart because declarer has no more trumps in dummy. So you're not giving declarer the same option, same ability to ruff while they discard a loser. So played that way, you can hold declarer to 8 tricks. Although when this hand was actually played, a lot of declarers who played it in spades made 10 tricks on this hand. But good defense and avoid being end played east should hold declarer to 8 tricks. Do interrupt me if you want to ask something about that. Let's try a couple more. Here's one where you open a heart, West doubles, which is for takeout, and your partner puts you into 4 hearts. And the opponents lead the king of clubs. And if we stop to make a plan, we can see we're in a bit of bother here on this hand. We've got 2 club losers and a diamond to lose. And we may well also lose a spade. In fact, based on the bidding, we would expect nearly all the missing points to be in the west hand. We've got, I think, 16 points in the south hand and 9 in the north. So we've got 25. There are 15 missing points, and most of them are going to be in the west hand. It's West who's probably got those missing kings, the king of diamonds and the king of spades. So the spade finesse is probably not going to work. And also diamonds is dodgy because if they can make a diamond, they can make a diamond and 2 clubs and a spade will be defeated as well. Anyway, they've led the king of clubs, which looks like it's probably top of a sequence. And let's suppose we win the first trick with the ace. And let's suppose we start drawing trumps. We draw 1 round of trumps, and we play a second round of trumps. And we're now in dummy. All the trumps have gone. So there are no more trumps to play. And the lead is in dummy. And I'm going to ask you, what do you think you should lead from dummy? Now, you could lead another trump, but apart from trumps, what suit do you think you should lead from dummy at this point? Is it a spade, a diamond, or a club? Let's have a look at that. And 56% went for a club, with 26 going for a diamond and 19% going for a spade. And what you need to try and do on this hand is think back to the bidding and think back to the play. Remember, West started off with the king of clubs. And what you're hoping to do on this hand is, rather than try these finesses, you're going to try to get West on lead so that they will lead something that will help you. And you can do that by playing the clubs. It's very likely that West is going to win 2 clubs if you do this. So we'll play a club there. West can take 2 clubs. But if I bring up the 4 hands at this point, you can now see that anything West plays can now help me. If he plays a club, it gives me a chance to discard in one hand while I rough in the other. So I could get rid of the diamond loser that way, perhaps. If he leads a spade, of course, he's leading into my ace queen, which is what I would love him to do. And if he leads a diamond, I have a chance, assuming he's got the king, to avoid losing to the king of diamonds, because I would play the queen. And as long as he's got the king over there, which I expect from the bidding, then I can avoid the diamond loser as well. So West is now end played, and whatever he plays may help me. If he does play a club, I now will be able to discard from one hand while I rough in the other. And I might choose perhaps to discard a spade from dummy while I rough in my own hand. And now I'm not going to lose any spade tricks. I can play the ace, play a spade, which I rough. I'm going to always lose a diamond here. I can't avoid that too, but I'll rough another spade and lose 1 diamond, but I'll make my 10 tricks. So basically I prevented, I threw in West, and that was much better than trying any kind of finesse there. To throw in West, based on the bidding, he's likely to have most of the missing high cards. Finally, let's have a look at this hand here, where you've opened 1 heart, and you and your partner are playing Jacoby 2 no trump. So Jacoby 2 no trump is what you might, if you weren't playing that, you might go straight to 4 hearts. It's basically saying I've got support for your hearts and enough points per game. So it's giving up on the natural meaning of 2 no trump to show some kind of balanced hand. It's saying I've got heart support. But you have a minimum hand. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losers or so. So you just go to 4 hearts and you end up in 4 hearts. And let's have a little think about this hand and see how we're going to play it. Well, we have a similar problem to the first hand we looked at. We've got 2 diamond losers, no heart losers, no club losers, but we may lose 2 spades. And you may think you're going to try the spade finesse at some point. But let's see how it goes. Let's suppose they start with the ace of diamonds and play the king of diamonds and another diamond, which we rough. So let's start by drawing trumps. That's 1 round gone. Play a 2nd round. West discards. So we'll draw the last trump there. And what we're going to do on this hand, our spade holding is ace queen 9, not ace queen 10, but we can still do something similar to what we did before by playing the spades in such a way that if East gets on lead, that they may end up having to lead a spade or something else that helps me. So let's but for what we're going to do is, just as before, is eliminate the club suit, play the clubs, so there are no more clubs, and then we're going to lead a spade, and the right spade here to play from dummy is the 9, because if we bring up the 4 hands, we'll see the worst that will happen is that East is able to win with the 10, but East on this particular layout now has to return a spade. Or if they didn't have a spade and they had another suit, then that would give me a rough and discard. But even though, so rather than try the spade, try to win the trick with the queen of spades, we we just play the 9 here, which loses to the 10, but now East is end played. Whatever East plays here they have to play a spade. And of course, we win the Queen and the Ace. And we'll make our 10 tricks that way. So this hand was quite interesting. We had Ace, Queen, 9, not quite as good as that, but we could still execute the end play. And you may be able to do it even if you have a holding like Ace, Queen, 5. I've just changed the holding of the spades in the north hand to give you just Ace, Queen, 5, but we can still try and do something similar. So again, we'll go through the play as it was before, drawing trumps in 3 rounds, eliminating the club suit, and leading a spade towards dummy. And the spade you want to play from dummy here is actually the 5. You want to, in other words, you're giving up this trick, but you are end playing East, because whatever East wins with here, they can win with the 8. They are now end played. They have to play, as it turns out, a spade here, or if they had another suit, they would give me a ruff and discard. So played that way, declarer will again make their 10 tricks here. Now, this is not quite as simple as I described, because there was a mistake made by West. So what happened was, let's go back to the point that the trumps are being drawn and then the clubs are being eliminated. And when South here plays the 7 of spades, West actually has to be on the ball, because you may think it obvious that there's no point playing the 9 here, but it's actually the critical play, because you can see that if you play low, your partner will have to win this trick with in their hand, and that they will be end played. And in fact, this hand was one very similar to one I recently played. I was West, and there was a very good declarer who played this hand more or less as I've described here. And as West, you have to be on the ball here and insert your 9 to prevent your partner being end played. And if you don't, you may think there's nothing to think about here, but it's actually important to play the 9. It's the only way to defeat this contract. And if you play the 9 here, then if declarer wants to win, if declarer plays low from dummy, then East doesn't have to win the trick. East can play the 8 here, and you've saved your partner by going up with your 9 there. And now declarer is going to be defeated because you have the lead. You'll be able to lead a spade, and your partner will make one more spade trick. So this is one of those hands where, as West, you may think there's nothing to think about here. But if you see, when I was playing this hand, declarer was a very good declarer, and they played it more or less like this. They drew trumps, they eliminated the side suits, and then they led low towards dummy's ace queen, and West has to sort of anticipate what's going on and can save their partner by playing the 9 there to prevent their partner having to win the trick. So that's all examples of end plays, and try to avoid being end played. Anyone have any questions or comments on any of those hands?